Once upon a time, two evils as old as the galaxy are sent here to fulfill their destiny, and that is to steal rare Pokemon, bring chaos at a breakneck pace, serve the wicked ambitions of a cunning mastermind, and somehow capture the hearts of their audience along the way. Let's all welcome a woman with beauty so radiant the flowers and moon hide in shame. It's the fiery destroyer Jessie. And with her is a nobly heroic man of our times, one with thunderous emotions. It's James. Together, they form the name of Team Rocket. Jessie and James are unbreakable partners at work, but some would say they're also partners for life. And this shipping between the two main antagonists of the Pokemon anime series is called Rocket Shipping. Rocket Shipping's Japanese name is Koji Musa. It's a reference to James and Jessie's Japanese names, Kojiro and Musashi. The ship has flown in the Pokemon anime since the second episode, and Jessie and James have been through so much together since then. This is the 5th entry in my series of videos where I talk about Pokemon anime ships, so you should definitely check out those too. Prepare for trouble and make it double, cause we're talking about 10 moments that best display Jessie and James' age-old partnership. It's only fitting to start this video with the very first time Jessie and James meet each other. And no, I'm not talking about the time on the bridge by gang, but the actual first meeting, which was in Team Rocket's training days. Or should I say, training days? Before being recognized as true Team Rocket agents, trainees will first have to undergo rigorous training in the Team Rocket Academy. Jessie has been training for quite some time now, but over the course of 2 months she's been paired with 10 different partners, all of whom she underwent missions with, which ended up in disaster. One of the reasons for this is Jessie's inability to work well with other people. But despite that, Drill Sergeant Viper refuses to give up on her as he recognizes Jessie's special talent and potential. So Jessie is given one final chance to prove herself in the organization, and this time Viper pairs her with a new agent in training, a guy named James. Jessie probably thinks that a partner by any other name is just as bad, so she could only hope that this new guy is good, someone that she doesn't need to carry.
You're good, because I'm not going to carry you.
No one's carried me since my mama.
Viper warns James about Jessie's history of not getting along with her partners, but James is optimistic and believes that maybe she just hasn't found the right partner yet. Jessie and James spend the next day training together, overcoming obstacles together. They're both individually good, but not yet perfectly in sync. In addition, Viper adds this talking Meowth in their team as their token Pokemon. These three, along with other trainees, are soon tasked to complete a mission of traveling to a certain destination within 24 hours with only little food on their backs. Jessie, James, and Meowth face the elements of Mother Nature as they work their way through mountains and rivers. Later that night, as Jessie's about to eat her piece of bread, she hears Meowth's stomach grumble. And since James gave his own food to Meowth earlier, Jessie divides her bread into 3 and shares it with James and Meowth. She says that they all need to be strong if they want to finish the mission. It's Jessie's first sign of teamwork, and perhaps James' kindness to Meowth helps soften her heart. James then tells Jessie that he believes that if he, Jessie, and Meowth truly stick together, then they could make a truly amazing team. The greatest team in all of Team Rocket history. Jessie's initially unsure if she could count on James, but James promised that he'll never let her down. The next day comes as they are faced with a perilous old bridge that they have to cross. Jessie crosses first while James brings up the rear carrying Meowth on his head. But then the rope snaps, so James throws Meowth toward Jessie, leaving both him and Meowth hanging on for dear life. Jessie alone probably couldn't lift both of them up, so James makes a courageous decision of letting go to save both of his friends. Jessie and Meowth complete the mission, but James is severely injured and unable to continue. With her partner gone, Jessie finds herself in the final mission along with Cassidy and Bill. Their task is to steal the cage containing the red Snorlax in a towering penthouse before midnight. As Jessie and Meowth prepare to infiltrate the penthouse, a bandaged James shows up out of the woods and fulfills his promise of not letting Jessie down. And together they scale the tower by passing these life-threatening obstacles like they're in a game of Alice in Borderland. All those grave adventures lead them to the top, where Cassidy and Bob also arrive at the same time. But Cassidy and Blipbug accidentally fall into one final trap, so as James and Meowth excitedly go for the cage, they've too fallen into a trap. But good thing Jessie is there to stop them from that happening. It's the same situation as they were on the bridge, and like before, James lets go of Meowth, but this time Jessie refuses to finish the mission without James, so she and Meowth grab his hand. And with all the strength they've got, they lift James out of the bottomless pit. As the three of them retrieve the cage, the alarm rings, signaling that they're just seconds short of finishing the mission. Snorlax reveals to be inside the Snorlax suit, and since they came the closest to finishing the mission, Jessie, James, and Meowth are officially recognized as Team Rocket agents. It's almost as if Jessie and James were always meant to be together from the get-go. It's because of their training days that Jessie's able to break out of her shell and work well with others, and James is the one who helped bring this out. Since then, the teamwork has always been a recipe in Team Rocket's operations, and although they'll be facing countless failures, one thing's for sure, nothing in this world could ever separate Jessie and James. Yes, not even death could separate them, because in Pokémon Shipwreck, Jessie and James have drowned to their death inside St. Anne. Or so they thought. Prioritizing their lives over their rivalry, Team Rocket and our heroes call for a truce until they escape the ship. Thanks to Missy's expertise, they work their way through the intricate rooms until they enter one that's engulfed in flames at the bottom. With no hope left, Jessie and James accept their fate as they hold hands, and we even learn from Jessie that James is a wonderful dresser. So does that mean James helps Jessie with dressing up? Anyways, good thing Ash comes up with a brilliant idea to use Bulbasaur's vines to help them cross to the other room. But James is being a scaredy cat and tells Jessie and Meowth to go forward without him. So Jessie slaps him 6 times, serving as her dashing hope, putting fear in his place. And she assures James by telling him they'll cross together. Jessie further assures James and tells him, "Don't worry, I won't leave you," which echoes James' promise to Jessie of not letting her down during their training days. With that, everyone gets to the final room, where Charmander opens an exit for them. All they need to do is grab onto a water Pokemon and swim them to the surface, but all they've got is James' Magikarp, who still doesn't even know how to swim. So the water eventually floods the room and the ship sails further into the abyss. Moments later, Ash's Pidgeotto finds Team Rocket floating in the middle of the sea. Team Rocket is officially dead. Even till death, Jessie and James refuse to leave each other. Ash, Misty, and Brock pay their respects and give them a proper burial. But what's better than dying together is choosing to live together and live for each other. Team Rocket carries on and is sent into another life-threatening moment as James's Magikarp evolves and attacks them with Dragon Rage, destroying the raft and barely leading them safely to shore. Continuing on their crazy travels, Team Rocket stumbles upon James's family house. Well, it's actually a mansion, and it's only now when Jessie, Meowth, and us, the viewers, find out that James is actually filthy rich. But unfortunately, they find out that James's parents have passed away. But fortunately, all their riches are passed on to their sole heir, James. But unfortunately for him, to get his inheritance, he'll first have to marry his fiancée. James loathes the idea of marrying his fiancée, but Jessie and Meowth trap him and bring him inside the mansion so they could get some of his riches. As it turns out, James's parents are actually alive, and this is just a ploy for him to go back home and marry his fiancée, Jessibelle. And at first glance, she looks just like Jessie. It's important to note that as kids, James was the first one to fall in love with Jessibelle, so her looking like Jessie probably says something about potential romance between Jessie and James. And just when you think it's possible, the Jessibelle girl is even meaner and nastier than Jessie. I guess James has a type. But after Jessibelle successfully imprisons James, Jessie and Meowth now understand why James passionately hates the idea of marrying this demon. In fact, she was the reason he ran away in the first place. So they stop pushing him to marry her. In the end, Growly saves the day, breaking James free from Jessibelle's grasp, and as he dashes away at the speed of light to reclaim his freedom and be with Jessie. And just when Jessie and Meowth begin to accept that James is never returning, he shows up in their balloon as he grabs Jessie's hand and once again resume their good old schemes of capturing Pikachu. It's double trouble time, and Jessie and James share a deep, heartfelt, and loving handshake. They may not be rich now, but at least they got their freedom back and a genuine happiness found in each other. Let's jump from one princess episode to another, because it's finally time for the Princess Festival, the one day of the year where men will have to do everything women tell them to do.
How's that different from any other day of the year?
The town has become a bargain paradise where clothes and toys are for sale at huge discounts, but the main highlight of the event is the Queen of the Princess Festival contest. The winner of the competition will be awarded a one-of-a-kind collection of Pokemon Princess dolls. What they thought is a mere beauty contest turns out to actually be a Pokemon battling contest. Trainers may use up to 4 Pokemon in the battle, but since Jessie's only got her Arbok and Lickitung, she's gonna have to bring in Meowth as well as James's Weezing. Well, James is hesitant at first, but proceeds to cheer his heart out throughout the entire competition. You see, growing up poor, Jessie hated Princess Festivals because she's the only one who didn't have any. This makes James feel bad for her. He grabs her hands and tells her that he hopes she wins these dolls. Thanks to James's Weezing and all the other Pokemon, Jessie blasts her way to the final round where she's faced against Misty. But despite having an overpowered Lickitung who licks all of its opponents into oblivion, Misty's Psyduck proves to be more overpowered, triggering a headache that ultimately leads to Team Rocket blasting off. Jessie has sadly lost the competition, but to comfort her on her loss, James, Meowth, and the other Pokemon dress up as dolls so she could for once have her own set of dolls, albeit alive. I guess it's kinda like Toy Story. It's a beautiful and thoughtful gesture by James, which only warms Jessie's heart and only bonds them even further together. But just like with any other soulmates, fights are always inevitable, sometimes necessary for their bonds to grow stronger. One day, couple Oscar and Andy challenge Jessie and James to a double battle, which they gladly accept, thinking they'd be able to steal their Nidoking and Nidoqueen and give it to the boss and make a fortune. Joke's on them because Giovanni already has Nidoking and Nidoqueen, at least in the games. During the battle, Oscar and Andy are in perfect sync, but Jessie and James are not, which causes Viper and Cacnea to entangle one another, leading to another blast off for them. Jessie blames James Cacnea on the battle disaster, but James insists that it's a Viper who got in the way, so they spend the whole afternoon bickering, bringing up things of the past, getting personal, and screaming how much they hate each other.
Incompetent blue-haired big mouth!
Oh yeah? Well, at least I'm not ugly!
Now that's crossing the line, Buster!
Yep.
In the middle of all this bickering, Team Rocket stumbles upon the twerps, and turns out Ash and May are fighting too. So Jessie grabs May, and James grabs Ash, and the two pair engage in a battle of the sexes.
Our combined feminine prowess will be toast in no time flat.
Let's blow those whining women back to the Dark Ages right where they belong!
The battle starts out evenly with neither side giving an inch, but soon the boys gain the upper hand as both Kekni and Corfish land their attacks onto Viper and Skitty. James and Ash continue to gain momentum with another set of attacks, which drives Jessie to break the rules and send out Dustox. Brock declares the disqualification of Jessie and May, so everything goes awry. The battlefield is complete chaos, attacks are spewing everywhere except for Viper randomly screaming in the back. But for Meowth, it's the perfect time to capture Pikachu while everyone's distracted. He sends some signals to Jessie and James while they're in the middle of fighting, but when they get the message, Jessie and James bounce back together like nothing ever happened. So Jessie and James order their Pokemon to use Haze and Sandstorm to steal Pikachu amidst the chaos. Tiny things may cause friction in their friendship, but nothing bonds them better than the idea of capturing Pikachu. But Ash and May also patch things up and work together to take Pikachu back, sending Team Rocket blasting off again. They may have not gotten Pikachu this time, but what they got back from this experience is each other, and that's all that really matters. One day after another one of their daily blast-offs, Jessie and Meowth begin to get tired of getting blasted off again and again and having their plans foiled repeatedly. But James remains optimistic and starts thinking of their next plan to capture Pikachu. So they walk through the city where they stumble upon a popular ramen shop. Turns out the owner of the ramen shop is their old friend Christopher from their Team Rocket Academy days. To Christopher, Jessie and James are the friends who always cheered him on during his lowest days. And when they treated him to a delicious ramen, that's what inspired him to kickstart this business called the Jessie and James Noodle Shop. After seeing Meowth's unrivaled skills of slicing noodles, Christopher offers him a job as a noodle master of his ramen shop, but Jessie and James refuse on Meowth's behalf, saying that he's a core member of Team Rocket who's responsible for crafting and maintaining their machines. Soon later, Team Rocket creates this massive ramen robot with these noodle-like strings to capture Pikachu, but they forgot to make it electric-proof, so they're instantly sent blasting off again. Jessie and James blame Meowth for this failure, and despite James's optimism, Meowth has had enough of this and runs away to pursue success as Christopher's noodle master. Jessie follows suit and spins away to focus on her contest journey. This leaves James alone, lonely and angry with his friends while missing them at the same time. Soon he learns about the differently colored Metagross in the mountains, so he plans on catching this, believing it'll make him a fortune, but he quickly finds out that it wasn't a good idea to face a wild pseudo legendary by himself. But as James is bested and cornered by the shiny Metagross, a Yanmega shows up and attacks a pseudo. It's Jessie. She saves James from a near-death situation, except it only puts herself into trouble as well. Well, at least they could die together now. What would have happened in St. Anne is probably gonna happen now. James apologizes for dragging Jessie in this mess, but Jessie reassures him, already accepting their fate, telling him that they're a team. And with no hope left, a bazooka fires at Metagross, revealing to be coming from Meowth on their balloon. Jessie and James hop on their balloon, and once again share another blast off together. Being the best of friends doesn't always mean being with them, sometimes it also means being them. Jessie is scheduled to compete in the upcoming lily pad contest, except that she's sick and could barely get up. So she concocts a plan for James to dress up as Jesselina and enter the contest on her behalf. At first, James is quite shy and clearly out of his element, even if we've seen him dress in other more ridiculous outfits before. But he still pulls himself together, knowing Jessie is waiting back at camp. In the performance stage, James calls Meowth to show off his top-notch ramen making skills, serving the judges a tasty treat, one of the most unique performances in contest history, which garners them a standing ovation. It easily advances James and Zelina to the battle stage, where he and Carnivine win their first match. In the semifinals, Jesselina is matched with Dawn and her Mamoswine. This mammoth may look intimidating, but as it prepares for Ice Shard, Carnivine is quick to take the ball of ice away from its mouth, then throws it right back to its face. This enrages Mamoswine so much that it starts charging its way towards Carnivine, but the bug catcher Pokemon evades every single attack, slowly chipping away points from Dawn. Carnivine soon seizes Mamoswine in its most vulnerable state and launches its giant body to the ground, destroying the judges' table. The timer runs out and James and Zelina sweeps the battle. This momentum carries them to the final round where they defeat their final opponent, winning Jessie her third ribbon. It's honestly impressive how James won his first contest on his first try, and with the added hindrance of not dressing as himself. Maybe it's his genuine love for Jessie that pushed him to do his absolute best. But what Jessie said is true, James indeed is a great dresser, not a single soul could tell the difference. Team Rocket in Black and White was more of a serious and competent duo, so we didn't get a lot of human moments with them. So skipping to XY, where they're back to their usual antics. Pikachu sends them blasting off for the millionth time, but this time Jessie and Wobbuffet get separated from James and Meowth. Then after inhaling a dangerous stun spore from a wild gloom, they fall deep into the water, slowly losing consciousness. Good thing her superhero comes and saves her, Dr. White. The doctor immediately treats her condition, causing Jessie to instantly recover. While doing so, she develops a crush, or perhaps love for him. As thanks for saving her, Jessie offers to assist him throughout his daily rounds. Here she meets Beatrice, Dr. White's friend who reports to them about a dangerous Pokemon hunter. Jessie's actually great at being the doctor's assistant, managing to stop this frenzy skidoo with her bare hands. This older lady even ships her with Dr. White, saying that a strong, capable woman like Jessie would be a wonderful wife for him. And to top it all off, her Wobbuffet seems to be enjoying his time with Dr. White's Wobbuffet. This makes Jessie think of her future, her life. What truly makes her happy? Is it love or something else? Spending more time with Dr. White helps make her decision. She's choosing love. Soon later, the twerps ask for Dr. White's assistance to treat the Dene. And eventually they figure out that Jessie is actually the doctor's assistant, but she pleads for them to keep her identity a secret, saying that she decided to quit Team Rocket so she can live her life with Dr. White forever. However, unbeknownst to her, James and Meowth have found their location and overhears this whole conversation. Meowth initially wants to snap her out of it, but James stops him, believing that Jessie will be better off without them. James recounts his precious memories of Jessie and decides not to interfere as he runs away with tears flowing down his eyes. Not long after, the Pokemon Hunter strikes and captures Meowth, Pumpkaboo, and Inkay. This leaves James asking the twerps for help, trying to keep this a secret from Jessie as to not disrupt her peace. Except she overhears them. She then informs Dr. White about the Pokemon Hunter, which causes him to instantly worry about Beatrice. It's a big revelation as Jessie finds out that Beatrice is more than just a friend to Dr. White, his heart is hers. So Jessie calmly realizes her fantasies are nothing but delusions, and she makes a wise decision to leave Dr. White's place. She leaves Wobbuffet with his girlfriend and returns to Team Rocket. Jessie and James are reunited once more, but Wobbuffet also returns to save the day. The Pokemon Hunter is finally seized, and in the end, Jessie finally realizes her heart is truly with Team Rocket, with James, not with some random doctor she just met. In Sun and Moon, Jessie and James spend most of their alone days in Beware's camp, but towards the end of their stay, they decide to participate in the Monolo Conference, perhaps to capture as many strong Pokemon as they can. They disguise themselves as Jessina and Jamesio, which is a direct reference to Cena and Dexio in the games, who many speculate to canonically be dating. In the 151 Battle Royale, Jessie and James try their best to avoid everyone else, letting others whittle everyone down until they reach the top 16 by doing nothing. Despite Mimikyu's thirst for battling every Pikachu in the battlefield, both Jessie and James make it out of the Battle Royale alive. But in the top 16 tournament, they are faithfully matched against each other. Jessie is totally confident she'll win, and similarly, James is hopeless, believing he'll lose. On this battlefield of truth and love, Wobbuffet and Marini are sent out, and we all know how broken Wobbuffet can be. Every attack that Marini sends, Wobbuffet just sends it back with twice the power. This exhausts Marini, and James even tells her to pretend they're unable to battle, but Marini isn't willing to give up, which only wakes up the fire in James's heart. With that, Marini puts everything into one final Spike Cannon attack, and despite Wobbuffet's continuous counter, he eventually succumbs, giving James and Marini the win. Okay, maybe this is more of a James and Marini shipping, but what happens next is the real rocket shipping moment. Right before James's battle with Gladion in the top 8, Jessie gives James her Z-Ring, saying that he won't forgive him if they lose. And she even boosts James' popularity by giving the commentator a bio of him stating that Jamesio is a ferocious warrior who has challenged countless gym leaders. Which is technically true since James did battle Misty, Brock, Silent, and Clement at some point. The battle does end with James losing even after using a Z move, but instead of scolding him, Jessie sweetly gives him a can of coffee, saying that they can only rocket forward. This makes James really happy, and he declares that they'll give it their all again soon. If there's one word that truly describes Team Rocket, it's resilient. Maybe that's what the R on their chest stands for. They've been following Ash Ketchum for 8 generations now with hopes of one day capturing his one-of-a-kind Pikachu. And despite countless blast-offs, they always rise up and plan their next operation. But one day, Team Rocket's Zelibird Messenger presents Jessie and James a plethora of Pokeballs, which turns out to be containing all of their old Pokemon from the past. It's a heartwarming reunion before Giovanni sends them a voice message telling them to manage their Pokemon, perhaps expecting them to prove their worth once more as agents of Team Rocket. Together, this ensemble of Team Rocket Revengers hatch one final ploy to capture Pikachu once and for all. Phase 1, acquire the trust of the twerps. It all starts with Mime Jr. suddenly showing up in front of the twerps, asking for their help, pushing the narrative that Team Rocket is after it. They make a story that Mime Jr. has turned good and ran away from them to sell them out to Officer Jenny. Pikachu's initially wary of it, but eventually believes its innocence after some convincing. So Ash protects Mime Jr., and Pikachu sends Team Rocket blasting off. Phase 1 is done, so let's move on to Phase 2. Separate Pikachu from the twerps. Ash, Missy, and Brock now take Mime Jr. to its meetup place with Officer Jenny, but along the way, Jessie and James' Pokemon show up to try to stop them. So, one by one, Brock, Missy, and Ash leave the gang to deal with these Pokemon until eventually Pikachu's the only one left with Mime Jr. Mime Jr. soon brings Pikachu to the meetup spot, which means it's time for Phase 3, Capture Pikachu. Team Rocket shows up and circles around Pikachu and Mime Jr. Pikachu does its best to protect the baby Pokemon, but Mime Jr. grabs a hold of him, giving James the perfect aim to catch it, except Pikachu breaks free, so Mime Jr. is the one stuck in the net. Pikachu then tries battling the rest of Team Rocket's Pokemon by himself, but everyone then shows up to help save Pikachu. And seeing her beloved Ash in danger, Latias appears out of nowhere and uses her psychic powers to send every single Team Rocket member blasting off. Team Rocket's ultimate operation has failed, leaving them pondering in the middle of a breezy field. Jessie, James, and Meowth start blaming each other for their plan's failure, and their argument escalates till they decide to finally part ways. But coincidentally, all three of them return to Team Rocket's headquarters, where they're assigned to do a job in the kitchen. They're still not in good terms at this point, but their hearts all lead them to the same place: Ash's Pikachu. Jessie, James, and Meowth individually stalk Ash and Pikachu walking in the forest until they all bump into each other. They all came up with the same idea, which means they're still in perfect sync even after being separated. So naturally, Team Rocket bands together one final time to capture Pikachu, which of course leads to them getting blasted off one final time. Jessie and James' story ends with them doing what they always did from the very beginning: riding on Team Rocket's balloon, following Ash and Pikachu wherever they go, hoping for a white tomorrow full of riches and successes, still being the best of friends the show has ever seen, and of course with Meowth and Wobbuffet beside them every step of the way. Jessie and James will forever go down as the best human friendship in Pokemon anime history, perhaps the second best friendship of all time, just behind Ash and Pikachu. I'd argue that Jessie and James are the most iconic pair of antagonists in any anime franchise. There are no angels, but there are lovely, charming villains. Rocket Shipping has given us countless moments of Jessie and James' strong relationship and maybe potential romance, so comment down below your favorite Rocket Shipping moment. I'm sure there's a lot that I missed. If you made it this far into the video, I want to say that I truly appreciate you, and as always, it's been your boy LUAP, and I'm blasting off. Peace.